All right, we're on the play in match 2 of this league with Looting Rug Delver. Now, this is an interesting kind of hand. We do not have a threat, but I am going to keep. Now, this might be a little iffy on the play. In fact, it is iffy on the play. Perhaps we should have mulliganed, but I think I still like this. We're going to do something that I very much doubt I'm the first person to think of this and make this comparison with a Faithless Looting deck. But we're basically going to take a mulligan here. But we're going to take kind of a partial Paris mulligan and a variety of partial Paris where we get to draw the cards and then decide what to put back. And the cards we put back actually go in the graveyard instead of back in the deck. Snapcaster Mage is good in most matchups. I think Vapor Snag is iffy enough that we can send it back. And probably this Forked Bolt. I think I'd rather have Lightning Bolt than Forked Bolt in the dark, so we're going to do this. Open up their graveyard past the turn. So basically, we took a mulligan there. But we took a mulligan, and we got to decide most of the cards that we not most of. We got to say, okay, I want this mulligan to have at least 2 lands. I want it to have at least 2 burn spells as an option for me. I want a counter spell in it, and I want not that. 1, 2, and I want a looting in it, which I think is kind of absurd. I know it costs us our first turn, but that's kind of crazy that you can just say, okay, I'm going to take a mulligan, and it's going to be a very good mulligan. Here's a Utopia Sprawl. Looks like we're up against another Ponza-style deck here. We're probably going to hold up the Mana Leak for that reason if this is a fetch. Oh, yeah. We actually might just... No, we can no longer get Basic Forest because we let on this. That's fine. We have to get Basic Island. I think I'd rather actually have Basic Forest here just because we have some blue cards, but we're going to counter pretty much anything they put down here anyways. And Snapcaster Mage is okay, but I'd rather have a Tarmogoyf or a Mandrills. Scooz is perfectly fine because it's going to eat a Bolt, which means we just get to leave this in play. They're going to eat Faithless Looting. That's pretty fair. I think that's fair from our opponent's perspective. Let's just do this and then hit 6 because I don't want to crack my fetch. We're going to hold on to this, reason being I don't know what colors of mana I actually want. Bam. Now we can have green and blue, which is just excellent. It's a little iffy that we're not looting here. Actually, we are going to loot. I shouldn't have played this out yet. We could draw into the Basic Forest, which really punishes that. Maybe I want to fetch first. Yeah, I'm going to fetch first. Make sure we don't draw those basics. That would be kind of bad. Our opponent having Scavenging Ooze is kind of interesting to me. Actually, we probably should have even just fetched with this first, just to make sure we don't misclick and grab the forest off the Misty. I want to find a threat here. I do want to hold up Mana Leak, but I want to find a threat. We probably just bin both of these lands. Definitely the Breeding Pool, and I think it's worth binning the Steam Vents. Yeah, they might try to blow something up, but we can at least Mana Leak the first thing. I want to find a threat. That's why we're looting there. Otherwise, we probably just pass the turn with our fetches up, make their land destruction a little worse. Basically forces them to target the Stomping Ground, because if they target a fetch land, we're just going to crack it. 3, 4 mana, smells like a Mana Leak. It's Bloodbraid, probably not getting Mana Leaked. If it's a Blood Moon or land destruction spell that we're cascading into, that probably goes. Do I actually care? Probably enough. I don't care much, but I care a little bit. We've got another Steam Vents in the deck that I wouldn't mind fetching out. Maybe we just let Blood Moon resolve and counter Bloodbraid? Or we let Blood Moon resolve. We can't both Bloodbraid here, which is a little annoying. I think I'm just going to counter the Bloodbraid Elf. Yeah, that's probably not fantastic, but it's good enough. Let Blood Moon resolve. I don't really care right now. We don't have Snap Leak up, but we binned both of those lands, so we don't really care about Snap Leak. I'd rather have Mana Leak available for something like Stormbreath Dragon, and we can bolt the Bloodbraid after we untap anyways, but we aren't doing anything on that turn because we don't have red mana to bolt. And I really just want to cast a threat almost like... If I could cast a threat yesterday, that would be fantastic. Tarmogoyf, fantastic, like I said. Lightning Bolt probably getting bottomed because we still have that Snapcaster Mage and Lightning Bolt in our hand. We can't necessarily bolt twice in the same turn, which means that Inferno Titan and Stormbreath Dragon could be a problem, but I think this is okay. I'd rather draw into something like another Tarmogoyf. If we could just draw all of our Tarmogoyfs in a row, assuming the opponent doesn't blow up our forest, that'd be cool. I'd be okay with that. The opponent does not have double green, which means we don't really need to fear Mwanvuli Acid Moss. Arbor Elf actually is pretty good here. They're probably not swinging with the Bloodbraid. If they have a Lightning Bolt, they might swing. Kind of makes me want to just not block, just in case they have the Bolt. Alright, I guess they don't. Thank you, opponent. Now that means we can Bolt Snap Bolt. That's kind of something I want to do. We have this Faithless Looting, but I don't think we're casting the one in the graveyard, so I'm just going to put this into play and swing. Getting value off of Snapcaster Mage without needing to flash back a blue spell is just fantastic. They decided not to chump block. Well, I am probably just bolting an Arbor Elf. Do I have anything? We could snap Forked Bolt, but that's not very good. We're just going to kill this. Depending on what their next play is, our Snapcaster Mage on their turn depends on their next play. If they have something I want a Lightning Bolt, we're probably doing that. If they swing with the Bloodbraid, we probably take it in the face, Snap Bolt them, and then crack back, depending on how the combat math with them assumably having a Stormbreath Dragon soon goes. Well, that smells like an Inferno Titan. Alright, that does not have haste, which means we're going to trade our Snapcaster Mage with Bloodbraid, probably. They dome us for 3. Tarmogoyf's going to have a lot of trouble hitting them at this point, which is a very real problem. I don't really want to trade Tarmogoyf for the Bolt in my graveyard and Inferno Titan, though. That sounds like a really bad exchange. So I kind of just want to hit them. Their Inferno Titan can't attack too well into our Goyf because we can crack back. So I think this is okay, maybe? It's I feel like it's our best play. Flashback this. Snap Mana Leak there would have been just absurd, but we decided we didn't want to hold that up. So that's kind of on me. We're going to block here. Inferno Titan makes Snapcaster Mage look really silly because it has exactly 1 toughness. And as they go to end the turn, we're just going to send a Bolt upstairs. We can't attack them, but unless they have a decent blocker, they can't really attack us. Second Tarmogoyf. That actually makes me wish that I held on to the Snapcaster Mage, but anyways, we're going to play this out. Doesn't matter what we tap, because we can't cast anything. If we draw something really bad next turn, we're going to flash back that looting in the bin. Go to the opponent. We're not in a good spot, I don't think. Blood Moon isn't super relevant. It's doing, I guess, a non-zero amount of work here. They now have double green, though, so it's definitely hurting us more than them. I'm assuming that's naming green. Makes Scavenging Ooze better. Scavenging Ooze could be a good way for them to just close the door on us. Making red. Okay. Double Anger? No. Maybe. Storm Breath. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. If I'm them, I'm swinging with that Inferno Titan, even though it's probably getting blocked. Does that change the math? We take 4, we take 3, and then we take 4 again. It's 2-turn lethal if they have a burn spell. Otherwise, they probably just keep the Inferno Titan back and laugh at us. No, they're doing. Alright, we're going to double block the Inferno Titan. They might actually just throw 3 damage on a Tarmogoyf, which that might actually be better for them, because I believe that means both Goyfs die. It does not. We have 10 toughness. They'll only have 6 power. 2 and 1. What does that do for them? They have a lightning bolt. That's what that does for them. But then they have 2-turn lethal if they just bolt us. Oh, but this is fine because we have to chump with Goyf, so they have 2-turn lethal anyways. I assume we're looking at a lightning bolt on that Tarmogoyf right now before it blocks. Actually, maybe they even want us to double block first, then totally blow us out. But if we don't block, we're probably dead anyways. Do we have an out if we just take this? That's 10. We technically survive at 1. So what can we draw? We take 10. We crack back, we find Lightning Bolt. That's lethal. If they have Lightning Bolt, we're dead. But if they have Lightning Bolt and we double block, we lose both of our Goyfs and we're dead anyways because we're not coming back from that. And if we chump with this, we're dead anyway. So I think 6 + 4, they can't monstrous this. We're drawing to exactly a burn spell. I'm just going to take this. It's actually our best line, I think. We're dead to any burn spell regardlessly. That just doesn't matter because we're beyond dead if they have a burn spell. We're dead if they pointed at us. We're dead if they pointed at the Goyf. Is it a thing? Oh, I'm not smart. I am not smart. That means we were supposed to double block the Inferno Titan, but that means one of the Goyfs survives and we're dead anyways, because we don't have an out with exactly one Goyf on the table. We can draw a Vapor Snag and bounce one of these mid-combat. We bounce the Inferno Titan in combat. They put it back down. Well, we bounce the Inferno Titan with the Vapor Snag. They go to 9. We crack in with our surviving Goyf. They go to 5. No, we swing first. They untap. Before this attacks, we bounce it. We chumped it, so we only take 4 from the 11, so we're at 7. This hits us, but they can actually monstrous now, can't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can, which means it deals damage equal to cards in hand. That's not relevant, but it ends up with 3 + 1 + 1 counters, which means we're dead to Stormbreath Dragon anyways, so we just didn't have an out. We were just dead on the table. I thought we had a chance because I forgot what Stormbreath Dragon does, but we don't. Alright, we're going to board that in for Blood Moons. We're going to board in the Sweepers, and I think that was all I did last time. I was considering Basilisk Collar because supposedly I did that before. EE. But I don't really like Basilisk Collar here. EE on 1 looks nice against them. What are we cutting? One of these. Some expensive counter spells, because even though Mana Leak would have been kind of nice for part of that, I actually think if they hit some land destruction, we're just dead. Vapor Snag to trim just some stuff that's not necessarily good, and the Spell Snare, which doesn't hit much. Traverse gets to stay here because even though it's not really going to help us in terms of finding threats so much, although it might, its main purpose is going to be to find a land if they start blowing up some stuff. So let's head into game 2. This hand is really iffy against a land destruction deck. In fact, we're going to mulligan it. That is 2. We get to Scry, but the only spell we can cast is Spell Pierce, which is... We're on the play, which is something. We get to counter their first Utopia Sprawl or Blood Moon / Stone Rain. If the top card gets us a Stomping Ground, we're in business. If the second or third does as well, because we get to Scry 1. How many cards get us Stomping Ground? 4 Misties, 4 Foothills, 1 Stomping Ground. That's 9. 9 cards get us Stomping Ground. I don't like those odds. That's better. Bottom that. We don't have red mana. Let's find a green source and a red source. Stomping Ground. We have to fetch for our green source, which really sucks. So I think we're just going to cast Lightning Bolt first. Do that. If they go Utopia Sprawl on 1, Blood Moon on 2, boo-hoo for us, we basically lose. Here's to hoping they don't have that. Well, we're going to keep hoping. Steam Vents can probably come into play tapped here. I guess no, we don't really care to have access to it. Casting the Bolt this turn is about the same as casting the Bolt on our next turn, since we're only casting a 2-mana Goyf. So it really doesn't matter. If they have it, we pretty well lose on the spot. If they don't, I think we're in a good spot to maybe crawl back. What do we got? Tireless Tracker. Let's untap, play a Goyf, and kill that. Actually, well, no, they can't make red mana here. They're not playing Simian Spirit Guide. So we don't actually have to sequence this properly, but we may... Oh, we also have a fetch land, so none of what I just said matters. We're just casting Tarmogoyf and Lightning Bolt. The order in which we do that, not very relevant. Let's get a basic forest. If they have 2 Simian Spirit Guides and 2 Lightning Bolts, it still doesn't matter because Goyf is dead regardlessly in that case. So let's make a 4-5 and hopefully make a 4-5 next turn. Over to you, opponent. We're definitely losing right now. I will say that much. Kessig Wolf Run looking pretty nice for our opponent to close this off once they resolve a Storm Breath or an Inferno Titan. 3 mana, another Tireless Tracker, sure. Can we find a Snapcaster Mage? I would probably be forever grateful to the deck if we found another Snapcaster Mage. We're just going to do this first because we might turn over something that grows Tarmogoyf. That just seems explicitly right. We found Delver, which means we get to play Delver and Mandrills this turn. How much does that shrink our Tarmogoyf? Do we just play out the second Goyf instead? Our opponent missing a land drop there is massive. Means that this tracker doesn't just immediately start making clues. Means they might just not kill us right away. I very much doubt they have a way to exile this unless we're talking Scavenging Ooze, which hurts Goyf regardlessly. So we can go leave their creature, leave our land, which seems okay. Kind of want to leave this Lightning Bolt, to be quite honest. I think applying just a boatload of pressure is going to be really good, but that makes this a 2-3, which is really bad. Let's do that. I'd like to play 2 more threats on this turn. I don't think it's viable. If they have a fetch land, they can make this tracker into a 5-4. They don't have a fetch land. That's good for us. Scavenging Ooze still going to be very bad. They can Wolf Run their Tireless Tracker here to trade with a Tarmogoyf. Scavenging Ooze. That's good. That's probably going to eat the only creature. Lightning Bolt, still looking very good. Okay, so they just wanted to make Snapcaster Mage bad. That's fair. That's actually incredibly fair. Does mean we're just going to crack in here with both of these Goyfs. Trading Goyf for both of their threats sounds awesome. I also want to just kill them before their top end kicks in. Hopefully they don't find another red source. It just occurred to me that Stormbreath Dragon and I'm going to figure out its name in a second. Inferno Titan. I'm really bad with names for some reason. Okay, so I kind of want to hold this in case we find a Faithless Looting. I definitely want to play this and this. I don't really like shrinking these, but I think Scavenging Ooze is just going to laugh at them anyways. So I kind of want to just slam Mandrills. I don't want to play into Red Source plus Anger, though. Anger is a sorcery, so we're going to want... They have more than enough mana that they could shrink Goyf and Anger, though. So even if I don't play out Mandrills... Well, actually, we have a lot of mana. We have a lot of mana. Let's think about our lines. If we shock with this and pay 3 mana for Mandrills, we have to delve 3 things. 1, 2, 3. We leave sorcery and land in the bin. These Goyfs are 3/4s. No. I want to get rid of the sorcery because Anger is a sorcery. So I want my Goyfs to be 3/4s with Vapor Snag in the graveyard. Okay, so if we do that, we delve Thought Scour, land, sorcery. They're 3/4s. They untap. They have double green, which lets them eat Tracker and a Thing. These become 2/3s, but if they anger, the sorcery hits the bin and they're 3/4s again, which means we're going to shock and just spew our hand. I believe I did my math right. Instant, land, sorcery. I don't think they can anger all of our Goyfs. They can make them very small with the Scavenging Ooze, but that was always the case because they have access to Scavenging Ooze and they're untapping with it. So I think I would rather just get this Mandrills down before they start going at our graveyard, and Delver also looks great if they don't just have Bolt for it. Also, our opponent's at 8, and they've been stumbling on land, so I want to just get creatures on the board and try to close out this game. We know for a fact that their top end destroys our top end. Red and green. What do we got? Some Skoos action here. Don't think I'm blocking Scavenging Ooze if it attacks. I'd rather not lose my Mandrills to the aforementioned Anger. I don't want to give the opponent a 2-for-1 here. Crack Clue, you got it. Tracker gets a bit bigger. Actually, if they attack with anything, I'm just probably taking everything in the face. Don't think we block anything here. If they play out a land and it's not a red source, I might consider blocking. But I also don't want to lose Mandrills to Utopia Sprawl, make a red source Bolt. Playing out our entire hand there is kind of bad if we find a Faithless looting, but we could actually use that looting to try to grow the Tarmogoyfs, so that might be a decent tempo play regardlessly. The looting on the flashback is basically irrelevant, because I don't think Scavenging Ooze is ever going to let us have that. There's no way we're going to have our cake and eat it too to that extent. Lightning Bolt here would be really nice. Of course, we don't really get to bluff anything with Delver. We're absolutely revealing anything we pull here. Okay, so these are 2/3s. That means they attack into these 3 toughness creatures very poorly. We swing with Mandrills. It's probably just going to die. I think I'm just going to play out this Tarmogoyf, because it might eventually do something relevant, like chump blocking. It might just die to an Anger, but it's not doing much regardlessly. I think we crack in with this Mandrills because we get to take out one of their dudes if they decide they want to trade, and that feels like it's worth it. If we swing with the team, they probably take hits from, say, Goyf plus Mandrills and eat Delver. I feel like they want to eat Delver if it attacks because it transforms, but that's just more reason for me to want to keep Delver alive. I think I'm fine trading the Mandrills. It's a little slow, but we're going to hope they stumble a little longer here. I don't think we have enough going on to just Alpha Strike and hope for the best. That seems kind of bad. They're going to eat our board. They get to eat the Goyfs at bare minimum. No problem there. This is going to let them grow the Skoos, but I kind of also like getting the Tracker off the table. Let's put this Tarmogoyf down. It's probably going to shrink sooner or later, but that's okay. If we ever find a Vapor Snag for that Scavenging Ooze, if we find a Vapor Snag soon for that Scavenging Ooze, we also get to do a wicked play where we just give them a bunch of grief out of nowhere, which I really like. I think the opponent just slams a land if they have it there, so I'm going to assume this means they're still missing on land drops. Another Tracker, you got it. That might mean there's a land coming. Yup, they found it. Oh boy, we're in trouble. That's also another green source. They're going to have enough mana that they get to crack that Clue. You know what? They might... No, I think they get a shock land here. They're going to shock for a stomping ground, right? They really want double red. I could see them putting it into play tapped, but I'm almost certain they want to get the second red source, which pretty well means if we don't put them into definite bolt range this turn, we're probably going to die. Now they have access to their top end. And that Scavenging Ooze is continuing to be a menace. So we probably just attack with everything here and hope for the best. They get to gain 2 life, assuming we don't kill them on the swing. Bolt, please. Vapor Snag. Wooded Foothills. That's not going to do it. We're going to hold on to that. If they eat both lands, do I actually want to have played that? They're not eating both lands. I think eating this creature is much better. We swing with the entire team. I'm going to attack with Delver here, because now that they have double red, I'm assuming Delver dies next turn or the turn after for almost certain. And if they block this, they take 3. If they don't block this, it deals 1. So I'm just going to swing with the entire team. They're going to eat this. They probably crack a clue to trade with one of these. Or maybe, well, yeah, they have to block a lot of stuff. Unless they have some serious bolt action, I'm just going to attack with everything here. If we have a bolt on top of our deck, something like that, that'd be nice. Putting creatures in the bin is kind of bad for us because of Scavenging Ooze. But if we're not attacking them now, we're probably dying anyways. Also, they don't know we don't have Lightning Bolt in hand, which is something. I should... No, the land in the graveyard doesn't matter. These Goyfs are just really bad. That might have been a bad attack. Maybe we just lose this game regardlessly. That Scavenging Ooze, I think, took over. They're going to get rid of the Vapor Snag here. I don't think I actually thought of the Goyfs becoming 1/2s. That means they eat 2 Goyfs and they take 2. Those Goyfs go into the graveyard and they get to eat them afterwards. I think this game is a loss. I probably did not play this well enough, and I also don't think we really had the tools to beat them, even though they stumbled that long. They're taking out Delver, which is probably a good idea. Yeah, that's actually really smart. This was a bad attack on my part. This was a very bad attack on my part. I don't think we actually had good attacks, to be fair, but that was a bad attack. If I thought of the Goyfs becoming 1/2s, we probably just hold back and don't swing with anything there, hoping to eventually chump block long enough to scramble something together, but that was quite bad. I shouldn't have made that attack. I 10 out of 10 should not have made that attack. It's not a good line waiting for them to kill us, but it's a better line than bringing the killing of us to them. We basically just made their job easier. I'm going to get that GG's ready for when they present the kill. It's probably going to be a couple turns. Storm Breath. They're not tapping. Oh, it's Inferno Titan. You got it. Yep. Goyf dies. We're going to take 8 here. And I dare say we're probably dead on board. Especially with Kessig Wolfrun, we are very dead. Let's draw a card and then scoop, shall we? We definitely don't have an out to this. Actually, you know what? Since we know we don't have an out to this, we're just going to scoop. They may be at 4, but we can't deal 4, so it actually doesn't matter. They can't attack with this, so it's not like they're not going to have a blocker for this Tarmogoyf. If we draw a Vapor Snag... Actually, do we win if we draw a Vapor Snag? Okay, it was a Faithless Looting, which finds us 2 more cards. A Burn Spell. No, they still block. It had to be Vapor Snag. I shouldn't have conceded there. It just occurred to me that Vapor Snag theoretically wins us the game if they swing with both of these, because they can no longer eat the graveyard. It puts an instant in the bin, which makes that a 3/4, and the act of bouncing causes them to lose a life, so we needed exactly Vapor Snag there, which makes that concession very bad, because we actually had exactly 1 card in our deck that kills them if they swing with both of these. Maybe they don't. Maybe they play it conservatively, but we should have at least waited for the attack. Yeah, that's that. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video, even though I made very bad attacks and then technically scooped a little early, but hey, I hope to see you guys in the next one.